ReZero by Tape Nagatsuki. Produced by Six-Tail Novel with Artail. AI. If you are interested in creating your own audiobook like this, visit Artail AI and claim free premium with code ARTAIL. How many times had he been slammed to the ground? He felt the hard, flat earth beneath him. A mix of blood and gravel made a mess of his mouth. His entire body burned like it was on fire. After so many blows to the head, his thoughts felt foggy and out of focus. His left eye had swollen shut. He heard a voice from somewhere high and distant, from someone looking down at him.
I believe it would be futile to continue further.
Subaru remained flat on the ground, limbs splayed, as he looked in the direction of the voice. He saw the violet-haired young man swaying the tip of the wooden sword in his hand. His mostly white ceremonial uniform did not have a single speck of dust on it, nor was he out of breath, nor even sweating. Only the blood-stained weapon he held detracted from his elegant mien.
If you take back what you said and bow your head before me, I will leave it at that. Do you accept?
It was the young man who had inflicted such pain on Subaru's body, relentlessly striking until he mercilessly drove Subaru to the ground. Each time he did, he would deliver his order for surrender again, as if some kind of rule demanded it. But Subaru's reply was set in stone.
I'm not wrong. I'm not bowing my head.
Even with blood trickling from his nostrils in an unsightly fashion, Subaru leaned on his wooden sword and rose again. He coughed violently to spit out the blood clogging his throat. The difference in strength was clear. Everyone knew who the winner and loser would be. It'd take a miracle for Subaru to get a single blow in, let alone win.
Yeah, like I care. You should take back what you...
Subaru bit back the pain in his mouth and cut off his last biting words before charging forward too slowly, too late. He poured all his strength into one desperate blow.
You can put everything on the line, and it will never be enough. That is the difference between us, unchanged from birth.
He smoothly parried the oncoming blow, and after Subaru lost his balance, the young man slammed him hard in his chest. Subaru's breath deserted him, and the next moment, when his vision flickered, a blow to his face sent him tumbling backward onto the ground. The pain was tremendous. Amid agony so strong he forgot to breathe, Subaru stared up toward the heavens through his right eye. He saw the azure sky, high and distant, but nothing beyond it. It was so blue, it made him sick. Subaru forced himself back to his feet and peered ahead, enduring blood-curdling pain with nothing more than his inexhaustible anger. But it was as if that anger was a diversion from whether he was in the right or the wrong in the first place.
And last, stretch your arms high in the sky for the big finish. Victory! Victory!
He listened to the giddy voices as he wiped the sweat off his brow. Subaru raised both hands high as he spoke his trademark phrase. A chorus followed, ending another morning's workout. The people who joined him in his exuberant radio calisthenics were residents of Earlham Village, the one closest to Roswell Manor. Probably half the village was present. Subaru's cheeks softened without him realizing it at the sight of the familiar buoyant faces. He wordlessly lowered his gaze, a little unable to watch them for a few moments. Subaru had suggested teaching Japanese radio calisthenics to help the village, where scars from the recent demon-beast crisis were still fresh. This had improved his reputation among the otherworldly residents and exploded into a village-wide movement. At first, Subaru had been worried about the lack of participants, but seeing the children who had been victims of the demon-beast attack enjoy themselves made him feel it was all worth it. The customs of his homeland were not to be underestimated. Radio calisthenics weren't the only popular tradition.
Okay, you brats, line up, it's stamp time.
Subaru raised his voice while taking out a raw potato with one end sliced flat. Subaru dipped the flat end into an ink container, then pressed it onto the sheets of paper that the queued-up children held out eagerly. The very in-demand potato stamp recorded that day's fruits of labor.
So how about it? In another week, we'll start the long-awaited, much-requested event, Monday Puck. The highlight will be those floppy ears.
The kitty's so cute. He's wonderful. He's adorable.
He'd stolen the potato stamp idea from radio calisthenics during summer break back home. A lot of kids had fun guessing what was going to be on that morning stamp. Subaru thus used his oddly dexterous fingers to engage their young minds. After a time, his pleasant chat with the villagers came to a close. Subaru waved to them and went on his way. He approached a tree at the edge of the village square, wearily calling out to the girl leaning against the trunk in the shade.
That wore me out. Anyway, sorry to keep you waiting, Emilia Tan.
No, it's all right. I see you worked hard, Subaru.
Emilia smoothed her silver hair with a charming smile, readjusting the hood she wore low over her face.
The villagers seem much happier these days, and it's all thanks to you, Subaru.
It's no big deal. I just showed them how to do some healthy exercises that get the blood flowing. But I feel bad making you come with me every morning, day after day.
That's okay. You're not in tip-top shape yet, and Ram and Rem can't come because of their work at the mansion. Besides, I really don't mind doing this.
As in, you don't mind spending your mornings with me?
Proof. Not that. More like I like being even a tiny bit involved with the villagers I never used to come in contact with. I think maybe I drew a line between us until now.
He could make out a small blush on Emilia's face under her hood. The lovely sight warmed Subaru's cheeks before he even realized what was happening. Lately, Emilia had often gone with him to the village as soon as she finished her daily chit-chats with the minor spirits, returning together after Subaru completed the morning workout routine. For about 15 minutes, he and Emilia would walk side by side on the way from the village back to the mansion. Subaru treasured these rare moments more than anything.
I have to say though, you really get along with the villagers, Subaru. You're probably more famous than Ram and Rem by now.
Well, I am kind of the hero who saved them. Plus, I'm the ultimate gentleman who never asks for thanks, never brags about my deeds. I'm sure you'll fall in love with me all over again.
I wasn't in love to begin with, mind you. Also, I think your assessment is slightly off.
Emilia put a finger to her lips, tilting her head slightly with a conflicted look. For his part, Subaru was a little dejected at her brushing off his favor so easily.
I think that the villagers see you as oddly perceptive rather than a hero who saved everyone. I mean, you know some very mysterious things.
So they're treating me like a well-educated professor, huh? But besides aerobics, I don't know all that much.
There's the games you play with the children, potato stamping, also mayonnaise.
Emilia clapped her hands together as her eyes sparkled. She'd become a huge fan of the experimental mayonnaise Subaru had made at the mansion. Subaru, a natural-born mayo lover, back on his world, had reproduced mayonnaise to put some zest in his meals. The sauce was apparently a smash hit with Emilia and the villagers.
I think they're underselling my hard work a bit if they think mayonnaise and rescuing children from demon beasts are on the same level. I mean, I put my body on the line and everything. He'd gone into the forest to save the children and got bitten all over. When Rem went out to save him from certain death, he protected her and got bitten, and he was about to be bitten some more when Roswell showed up to save him. Come to think of it, I did like almost nothing.
Thinking back on his exploits, they amounted to considerably less than he'd originally thought. Perhaps it was better to say that he'd been involved in many exploits, but his individual efforts had accomplished close to nothing.
Sheesh. Don't worry about silly little things like that.
But Emilia Tan...
Everyone knows you worked very hard, Subaru, Roswell, Ram, and especially Rem, right?
Subaru's expression remained pathetic in spite of Emilia's encouragement. She ran a few steps ahead of him and turned around. The sudden movement sent her hood falling back, letting her long silver hair flow down her back, sparkling in the morning sun.
And me, too.
Huh?
I know very well how hard you worked. That's why we will have no moping. Understand?
Emilia tilted her head and asked, "Your answer?" The dumbfounded Subaru vigorously nodded his head. His reaction prompted a beaming smile from Emilia.
What was that? You were moving like a broken toy. You're always like that.
This time it wasn't on purpose, and besides, you're 100 times more unfair. No matter how much I struggle, I just keep falling back in love.
Yes. I think you have very bad habit of glossing things over. Like just now.
Emilia wore a charming smile, oblivious to the sincerity of his words. Watching her put her hood back on and walk beside him once more, Subaru thought again that he'd never find a better girl than this. The gate of Roswell Manor had come into view during the course of their conversation. A few meager minutes remained until they arrived, and the regretful end to his morning bliss.
There's a dragon carriage parked in front of the mansion.
When Emilia paused beside Subaru and murmured, he stopped too, looking in the same direction. There was indeed something like a horse-drawn carriage parked at the gates. It was something like because the vehicle was clearly not horse-drawn. After all, the creature pulling the carriage was a lizard as large as a horse. Subaru was so surprised at its sheer size, compared to lizards back home that he wound up clapping his hands together.
Oh, right! I saw those passing through the royal capital here and there. Dragon carriages, you say?
Yes, the land dragon pulls the carriage that's behind it. So, it's a dragon carriage. Wait, don't tell me it has a common name I don't know?
No. No, I'm the one who knows nothing about it. I'm sure you're right, Emilia Tan. Have confidence in yourself.
Really? You're not teasing me? You're not going to embarrass me by letting me use the wrong words in the wrong place, are you? If you're pulling my leg, I'll clobber you.
Nobody says clobber anymore.
When Emilia raised a hand in mock anger, Subaru clutched his head and pretended to recoil. Their antics continued as they made their way forward, arriving in front of the dragon carriage.
Whew! Damn! This is impressive. It's, so huge it's unreal.
He'd seen these several times back during his time in the royal capital, but this was his first good look at one up close. The lizard that Emilia had dubbed a land dragon was indeed as large as a horse, but thinner and lighter. It looked like it beat a horse in a foot race. As the two approached, a man stood up from the dragon carriage's box seat and announced,
My, please look out below.
Before the startled pair's eyes, the man agilely leaped from the top of the seat to stand on the ground below. Subaru's breath caught a bit when he noticed he barely made a sound upon landing. The box seat was around Subaru's eye level, not a height to casually leap from. The old man bowed and spoke with eloquence, befitting an aged gentleman.
Welcome back. Please excuse me for currently occupying the front of your gate.
He politely stroked back his solid white hair before donning an immaculately tailored black suit. Though advanced in years, his body was obviously honed into fine condition, and his aura made Subaru subconsciously stand up straighter. If this man was indeed the driver, and therefore a servant, the master he accompanied had to be quite the person. Thinking this, Subaru shifted his gaze back to the dragon carriage.
The envoy is already inside the manor and possibly engaged with Marquis Mathers.
The aging gentleman seemed to read their minds and answered their question preemptively. Subaru was unexpectedly at a loss for words as Emilia, standing beside him, stepped forward and faced the old man.
Envoy, could this be?
As you have no doubt surmised, Lady Emilia, this concerns the royal selection.
At the term royal selection, Subaru's head snapped up. The way Emilia's expression tensed had Subaru furrowing his eyebrows, suspicious about this turn of events.
I believe the envoy has an official message for you. Please return to the mansion to receive it in person.
Am I being summoned?
Please ask the messenger personally.
The old man's discreet reply caused Emilia's face to harden as she lowered her head.
Let's go.
She began walking without even looking back at Subaru. He broke into a short jog to catch up. At the last moment, he glanced back and saw that the driver was still bowing low, silently watching them go.
Welcome back, Lady Emilia.
After the driver saw them off, the two arrived at the mansion's foyer and were greeted by a girl in a maid outfit. Rem. Strangely, emotions were absent from her high-pitched voice, replaced with calm formality. It was guest greeting mode. Something Subaru hadn't seen much in the mansion lately. She'd been showing her smile to Subaru especially.
Thank you. I'm sorry for leaving the mansion. It seems that we have a guest. An envoy from the royal capital is visiting. Master Roswal is engaged with the guest. Do you wish to join them? Of course. It's my problem, so we can't have me out of the loop.
Rem nodded in response. Emilia began up the stairs. Subaru walked by her side, joining the conversation like it was a normal thing.
All right, just because the pressure's on doesn't mean I can let it get to me. I better pull myself together and not do anything stupid.
He was pumping himself up, but seeing Subaru so enthused, Emilia halted.
What is it, Emilia Tan? Suddenly all stressed out? Need a massage?
Sorry, Subaru. This is an important meeting, so...
I know that. That's why I'm getting my head in the game, and...
Emilia was finding it hard to let him down easy, so Ren dispassionately cut him off for her.
Sister is already attending in the reception room. There is no place there for other servants. Understand?
Subaru took in Rem's words and looked back at Emilia.
You're kidding, right? I'm the one who's out of the loop?
Sorry, Subaru. Rem, lead the way. Yes, Subaru, please return to your room.
After Emilia's small apology, Rem spoke kindly to Subaru even while in work mode. Rem walked off to the upper floor with Emilia behind her. Subaru stayed in place and clicked his tongue.
Well, I don't know much about this world, so I probably wouldn't be of much use anyway.
He wondered if it was selfish that he still wanted to be a part of this. It had been approximately 1 month since Subaru had been summoned into another world. During that time, Subaru had taken it upon himself to favorably alter the destinies of the people with whom he'd become involved. Emilia was the first, but his rapport with the people in the mansion and the village was proof he'd done some good. In light of that, he was disappointed he hadn't been included in such an important issue.
I'm being left behind here, literally and metaphorically.
Of course, he accepted that his limited talents were the main reason why.
But accepting that and giving up are two different things. What should I do, huh?
Subaru Natsuki wasn't meek enough to simply wander back to his room and sulk in bed. He sank into thought, trying to cook up an approach to deal with the situation his way. Finally, Subaru's face twisted into an evil grin as he thought of something and snapped his fingers.
Ding. Isn't it boring waiting out in front all this time? Maybe take a breather?
The old man on the box seat widened his eyes in surprise as Subaru came with some tea. The dragon carriage was still parked by the front gate of the mansion.
Forgive my rudeness. This is somewhat unexpected, and so, please watch out below again.
With that, the aged gentleman leaped down from the box seat. Just as before, his landing was nearly silent. He continued.
I shall do as you suggest. Certainly, my throat has become slightly parched.
Well then, here you go. I didn't know what you liked, so I just brought the most expensive tea I could find.
The aged gentleman had a mild smile on his face as he accepted the tray. The expression deepened, the age-appropriate wrinkles around his mouth. Subaru noticed, studying him intently now that he was close, when...
Ooh, what the?
Suddenly, a light impact from the side took him by surprise. He quickly found the culprit. The land dragon was poking its snout into Subaru's shoulder. The jet-black creature regarded Subaru with sharp, reptilian eyes. Its gaze felt strange, but not uncomfortable. Perhaps he simply didn't feel any hostility in those gentle eyes.
My apologies. This land dragon is the finest one in our house, but...
No, don't worry about it. Actually, I feel lucky to get so up close and personal.
I am relieved to hear that. I must say it is rare for it to react in this manner.
After apologizing for the animal's discourtesy, the aged gentleman turned his blue eyes on Subaru as well. The boy's body tensed, as if he were suddenly at knife point. The gentleman continued.
If I may ask, are those battle scars?
These? Well, a bunch of things happened, but I wouldn't go as far as calling them battle scars.
They are from the claws and fangs of beasts. That is why you are favoring your left side, yes?
Subaru was surprised the old man could tell exactly what had left the white traces exposed by the rolled-up sleeves of his track jacket. It was true that Subaru had been favoring his left side ever since he had been injured.
I am deeply sorry for my repeated offenses. It may not be a question you wish to answer.
Apologizing in response to Subaru's silence, the aged gentleman took a cup of black tea and brought it to his lips. He commented,
A fine taste. It has a considerable kick to it, I think.
Well, I didn't exaggerate. It seriously is the most expensive tea in the mansion. I'll have a pink-haired maid on my case if I get caught for this.
That was no hyperbole either. Ram would have quite the lecture waiting for him if she found out he used the do-not-touch top-class tea without permission. The aged gentleman kept one eye closed as he appraised Subaru with the other.
Now then, what do you want from this old fossil after buttering me up with such wonderful tea?
Faced with the man's calm demeanor and shrewd discernment of his ulterior motive, Subaru could only tense up. As a youth, he knew he was sorely outmatched in this war of words, so he promptly raised the white flag.
Ya got me. My name is Subaru Natsuki. At the moment, I'm an apprentice servant here at Rosewall Manor. I'd at least like to ask what your name is.
Acknowledging his status as a novice, he hoped to get his senior to offer a shred of mercy. Seeing Subaru meekly bow his head, the aged gentleman relaxed his expression.
My, that is polite of you. I am called Wilhelm. I currently serve the House of Karsten, and that work has brought me to this place.
Wilhelm, is it? Thank you very much. I'd be really grateful if you could at least tell me what brings you here. Would you like to come inside?
I believe that the envoy is speaking about the matter.
Well, yeah, but they won't let me in on that. It's no fun to be left out of an event and not advance the story, so I figured I'd approach it my way.
He knew this was not a man to spill secrets about important matters, but gradually growing on people was Subaru's specialty. He wasn't just a delinquent without any talent for reading the mood. For a brief moment, Wilhelm was at a loss for words at Subaru's ambitious behavior.
You remain level-headed at unforeseen developments, and when your motives are exposed, you do not cower but only grow more defiant. Such a personality will assuredly incur displeasure.
So you're saying I can't even take a hint?
As I do not know your position within this manor, I cannot carelessly run my mouth. I hope you understand.
Wilhelm's expression sharpened for a brief moment, then softened as he politely brushed off the impudent request. If things continued this way, Subaru would just wind up making Ram angry.
I will say, you do seem very close to Lady Emilia. It does not look like you are a mere servant.
Really? Emilia Tan and I don't look like an odd pair to you?
Tenured?
Wilhelm raised an eyebrow at the odd manner of address. Then, he smiled thinly as he realized the nature of Subaru's feelings.
You walk a treacherous path, indeed. She may become the next queen of Lugunica one day.
Right now we're just a super cute girl and a dull servant boy. With the infinite future ahead, you never know what'll happen. When you asked your wife to marry you, Wilhelm, did you think she was the loveliest woman in the whole world?
My wife?
Subaru's radical assertion made Wilhelm slip for a brief moment. He immediately nodded.
I see. Certainly it is just as you say. I think of my wife as the most beautiful in the world. I felt like everyone was staring at her, and I needed to woo her while I could.
You see, I'm like, if she has to end up with someone, might as well be me, even if I'm unworthy. It might take a lot of persistence, but that's my win-win ideal.
You certainly act according to some very amusing logic. Fascinating, really. However, in the end, I am a mere driver. I do not think I shall be of much service.
I wonder, if you could tell it was Emilia Tan under her hood, I don't think the I'm just a driver excuse works very well.
Subaru's flippant statement wiped the expression from Wilhelm's face and silenced him.
The robe Emilia Tan wears is supposed to stop bad magic users from figuring out who she is. Plus, because of some stuff recently, a hooded mantle was added that makes it even stronger. People can't see who she is unless she wants them to, or they can break through the magic.
The robe put together with Rosewall's magic was an effort to nip trouble in the bud before Emilia's half-elf background could cause it. It was to protect her from the unfair handicap she had to bear, being born in her world.
And you realized all that from the beginning. Very cunning.
Oh no, it was total dumb luck. When I was pouring the tea inside the mansion, I was like, wait, wasn't that kinda odd?
The color of Wilhelm's gaze changed as he watched Subaru smile very casually. At the very least, he probably figured Subaru wasn't just a tea fetcher.
I suppose I cannot call myself a mere driver, then. As you surmised, I am indeed related to the royal selection, or related to someone related, I should say.
Related to someone related, that's pretty much the position I'm in here.
You and I are different, I believe, because my reason for involvement is not so romantic.
Well, of course not, when you're married to the most beautiful woman in the world. I think Emilia Tan would beat her out for cuteness, though.
No, even in loveliness, my wife has no match.
Subaru had meant to make light of things, but the firm reply left him without a comeback. Wilhelm's cheeks seemed to slacken again as he successfully drove the riposte home.
However, it would seem we are out of time.
Ah?
Subaru blurted like a dimwit as Wilhelm silently motioned to the mansion.
That's Rem coming out with... Who is that?
The familiar blue-haired maid was leaving the mansion with someone unfamiliar. Based on Wilhelm's behavior in their previous conversation, He reasoned this must have been the all-important envoy in question.
I guess, objectively, this fantasy stuff is extraordinary.
Perhaps he said that without thinking because the object of his attention didn't look like an envoy at all. The visitor noticed Subaru's gaze and responded with a teasing smile.
Hey, it's normal to fall in love with a beautiful person at first sight, but don't you know it's rude to stare?
The speaker was a girl with a lovely face, her flaxen hair cut semi-long. She was tall for a girl, almost the same height as Subaru. However, her figure was terribly delicate and her every action terribly feminine. Everything just screamed girl at you. A white ribbon adorned her hair, and the sparkle in her wide eyes gave her the impression of an adorable cat. Indeed, atop her head were...
Seeing them in person, I have to admit cat ears do have a certain magic to them.
Meow, meow. As if responding to his murmur, the animal ears, the same color as her hair, quivered. He hadn't had any chances to get up close and personal with a demi-human before. The genuine article was really a sight. Subaru had never felt such anguish before at keeping his inner fur connoisseur in check. As Subaru drifted off into the clouds, the girl turned to Wilhelm as he greeted her.
Hey, Grandpa Will, sorry to make you wait outside like that. It was boring, meow?
Not at all. This kind individual deigned to engage these old bones in conversation, helping me pass the time quite enjoyably.
Fumu?
At the old man's reply, the girl put a finger to her cheek and tilted her head. Her cat-like pupils narrowed as she observed Subaru. After a supercilious inspection, she clapped her hands together and announced,
Oh ho, you're the boy Lady Emilia Mountain Dude.
It was what she did next that caught him completely off guard.
Don't move. It's time for a little inspection.
Subaru was dumbstruck as the girl wrapped one arm around his neck, embracing him with her slender body. Since their heights were similar, her face pressed up to the side of Subaru's. The whisper of her voice in his ear made his body tingle all over, and he blushed in acute embarrassment. The soft sensation was accompanied by a curiously nice scent. The sudden turn of events froze him solid as he devoted every ounce of willpower to keeping his cool.
No! Hiya!
His efforts crumbled when he felt a single nibble on his ear. Laughing at Subaru's adorable yelp, the girl released him from her embrace with satisfaction. He hastily backed up, tumbling down onto his bottom.
Tee-hee, what a cute reaction. Anyway, the flow of water mana inside your body really is stagnant. If only there was time to do something about that, meow.
Then,
Checking your body out a little. The bite was complimentary.
Her glossy eyes locked on him as she provocatively bit her own pinky finger. Even knowing that she was teasing him, Subaru was still agitated and couldn't dismiss it as mere humor.
Oh, don't blush so much. Anai meow, I guess nobody's told you anything, have they?
what do you mean? About what?
About your body, and the deal, and things like that.
Subaru's eyebrows rose as the girl seemed to be deliberately prancing around the details. Though he found it hard to ignore her peculiar disposition, he had to simply hang on for the ride.
It would kinda help if you could tell me what those things are, you know.
Oh, what to do? This is an important job too. Tee-hee.
Let us leave it at that, Ferris.
Wilhelm scolded the girl for her excessive teasing. She pouted in response.
Foul, B-O-T, you're too serious, Grandpa Will. It's no fun.
I am grateful to Sir Subaru for the tea. And besides, it is time to be on our way.
Wilhelm bowed as he exchanged what somehow seemed like light-hearted banter with the girl. The girl still had a sour look about her, but she seemed to recover her humor as she winked in Subaru's direction.
So why? You look like you could use some more teasing, but we're out of time for today. If we don't get home soon, dear Lady Crush will be so worried. She won't sleep a wink tonight.
I don't want to ignore that first part, but who's Lady Crush?
A name you'd better remember. She's the lady who will rule this country someday.
At the last sentence, her carefree demeanor vanished, replaced by total seriousness. Then she gave him the dumbstruck Subaru a little wave. Wilhelm set his empty teacup back on the tray.
It was a fine drink. Well then, Sir Subaru, may you be in good health.
Wilhelm agilely leaped back up to the box seat and took hold of the land dragon's reins.
Well, sorry for no introductions, but Ferry's real busy. Later.
Hey, wait! There's a mountain of things I still want to ask.
You should take all that up with Lady Emilia. If fate permits, we'll meet again at the royal capital. Bye, Meow.
The girl left him nothing, her smile being the last thing he saw as she entered the dragon carriage. Realizing that his opponent had completely thrown him off balance, Subaru instinctively realized she was his mortal enemy. As Subaru held back his frustrations, Wilhelm cracked the reins with a brief farewell. The land dragon brayed while the wheels of the heavy carriage creaked into motion. It stomped the ground several times before taking a powerful step, accelerating rapidly the next moment. Before Subaru's eyes, the land dragon burst into a high-speed sprint down the road, kicking up a large cloud of dust as it sped off into the distance. Subaru, left in abject defeat, had only the scent of the high-priced tea, largely left untouched, to console him.
And did you fulfill your duties as envoy?
Well, of course. I would never fail to do anything my Lady Crush requests of me. Oh, Grandpa Will, you're such a worrywart.
Servant and envoy conversed as the land dragon left Roswell Manor far behind. Wilhelm sat on the box seat, guiding the land dragon effortlessly. Behind him, the pale-haired girl poked her head out the window of the dragon-drawn carriage. In one sense, there were few places more suited to a private conversation.
But I have to say, Grandpa Will, I didn't expect you to speak to that boy while you waited. You don't like talking to people, do you?
That is a most grave misunderstanding.
Oh. Is it now? So we? It's just that you like slicing people more than talking to them, right?
That is an even worse misunderstanding.
She had only been teasing, but Wilhelm offered no elaboration. The girl pressed her lips together in a pout, displeased with the stony reaction to her provocations.
You're no fun. What, it was more fun listening to that boy than your dear Ferris? He didn't seem that special, but you like him that much, Meow? You think he's actually so strong he's hiding his abilities?
Not so. He is an amateur, a cub without a mane, nor does he have any talent worthy of mentioning. I am certain he is very ordinary.
So why then, Grandpa Will? You said you hated Riffraff Meowst of all.
Everything the girl said painted him in the worst possible light. In response, Wilhelm calmly raised a hand and pointed at his face.
It's his eyes.
Eyes?
The girl lowered her head as she inquired. Wilhelm simply raised his gaze, thinking back.
The lad's eyes interested me ever so slightly. They said he has crossed the boundary of death. Many come close to the line, stop, and draw back. But
Wilhelm lowered his lids in thought as his words trailed off.
those are the eyes of one who has crossed once, no, several times, and returned. I know of no such being. You might say I was compelled by curiosity.
But the girl blithely dismissed Wilhelm's expression of wonder.
Meow, that doesn't make much sense.
This time, Wilhelm answered with a strained smile. The girl continued, adding,
But if that's true, Grandpa Will, that boys won't find an easy path to follow.
The girl narrowed her eyes as she tossed her glossy gaze toward the broad back sitting against the box seat.
Having the sword devil, Wilhelm van Astria, interested in you is as unfortunate as the witch having a thing for you.
You're going to the royal capital, right? Well, I'm going too.
With the guests having gone home, those in the reception room were able to breathe a sigh of relief, an atmosphere thoroughly shattered with a single sentence out of Subaru's mouth.
You see?
Rosewall's grin drew a fatigued response from Emilia.
I suppose I do.
Subaru wore a sullen expression at being left out of their exchange, which prompted Emilia to let out a sigh.
Just so you know, I'm not going there to play around. This is an important summons. Very important.
It's the royal selection stuff, right? I know. It's a big enough deal to shake the whole kingdom up and everything, but I'm begging you, take me, please?
Subaru knelt on the carpet and brought his hands together in a desperate plea. Emilia seemed conflicted as she surveyed the reactions of the others in the room. However,
Do not mind me. I would say you are free to choose as you desire.
This aroma, it can't be. Ram's treasured tea leaves. Barusu is truly capable of anything.
Rosewall washed his hands of the situation, grinning all the while. Ram, on the other hand, was preoccupied with shock at a sudden discovery about something and barely registered Emilia's predicament. And Ram, the final person, said,
Taking him along is fine, isn't it? It seems that Subaru has acquaintances in the royal capital. He should visit them so they can rest easy.
Until recently, Rem could be relied on to offer the most sensible opinions, but now she was solidly in Subaru's corner.
Oh, nice assist there. Rem, Riem, come over here.
Yes.
Answering Subaru's call with a flower-like smile, Rem sat beside him and offered her head. Subaru began to stroke her hair with a clearly practiced hand, making sure he would not mess it up. Rem's obvious pleasure helped Emilia realize she had no allies in this argument.
In the first place, what do you intend to do by coming, Subaru? There'll be a really important meeting about the royal selection, so I'll have my hands too full to deal with you at all. On top of that, in a real sense, this meeting is different than all the previous ones.
That's even more reason to go. I'll cry if I'm not involved at all in the critical moment that might make Emilia tan into royalty, even if it's way off on the edge of things.
That's why I can't bring you. If you go with me, you'll try too hard again for sure. I don't want to make you do such a thing, understand?
You're the one who doesn't understand, Emilia. If trying too hard can help you, then I want to try too hard. See?
I don't.
With bewilderment in Emilia's eyes as she murmured, an awkward silence fell over the reception room. It was Rose Wall who broke the unpleasant mood with a clap of his hands.
Yes, that is far enough. It seems this conversation is not making any headway, so let us wrap things up. I have decided that Subaru shall accompany you to the capital. This is my command to him as his employer.
Rosewall.
Rosewall completely bowled over Emilia's hesitance. As shock made itself plain in her expression, Subaru raised a thumb in approval.
Yeses! You said it, Rachi!
However, Subaru is going to the capital strictly for medical reasons. All matters pertaining to the royal selection are strictly separate, understand?
Huh? Medical? Reasons?
Subaru raised his eyebrows at the unexpected addition. He noticed that Rem's face, still resting against his shoulder, tensed slightly. Emilia wore a pained expression as well.
In the course of your battle with the demon beasts, your abuse of magic ran your gate dry. Even if your physical wounds have healed, treating this affliction is a different matter. Surely you have not?
Just 'cause you say I'm in bad shape because of some invisible thing, doesn't mean...
Subaru, mana circulating through the body is the lifeline of every living creature. When that flow stagnates, it retards the circulation of the very essence of life. Please, don't try to hide it.
As Wilhelm had pointed out, he was still experiencing the after effects of his physical wounds, like his limbs feeling heavier than they should. Subaru scowled at having been found out so easily, but he couldn't just brush off Emilia's plea.
I know my body's in rough shape, so how is healing it connected to the royal capital?
Because you need a top-quality healer to treat it. Subaru, did you meet the messenger?
You mean the cat-eared girl? To be honest, not the type I want to bump into again, really.
That messenger is an especially accomplished user of water magic, even by the stars nods of the capital. With such skill, it is no doubt possible to restore your health, as the child has various quirks. Lady Emilia went through quite some trouble to negotiate for cooperation.
Rosewall, wait a... That's...
Rosewall, who'd apparently slipped up on purpose, feigned indifference to Emilia's indignation.
Emilia Tan? Seriously? For my sake?
Emilia blushed furiously as she raced down her list of excuses.
I mean, it's partly my fault that you're not fully healed, Subaru. You wound up at the mansion because you shielded me, and I should really have done something about the demon beasts, but you did that in my place. So this is paying you back, or compensating you for your loss, however you want to look at.
Look, I know you're hiding your gratitude because you're embarrassed, but you don't have to put it like that.
Subaru wore a wry smile as he crossed his arms.
Sounds like you're all for me going to the royal capital. Why are you acting like you're against it?
Because if I just came out and asked, you'd get carried away and do something crazy. I know what kind of mischievous rascal you are.
No one says mischievous rascal anymore.
Subaru murmured his retort as he pressed his hand to his neck. Emilia stuck out her tongue at him, and the meeting drew to a close.
Well, then the matter is settled. Subaru shall accompany you on your trip to the royal capital. Preparations will require about 1 day, so departure shall be the morning after tomorrow. Is this acceptable?
Rosewall's firm words were met by assorted replies from all assembled in the reception room.
I understand.
No objections.
As you command, Master Roswell?
And so, the plan for the Roswell household's visit to the royal capital was established. And 2 mornings later, Subaru's voice quivered with admiration at the gate of the mansion.
Ooh, this is...
Subaru beamed at the huge carriage parked before him. Of course, it was a Land Dragon that drew the carriage, but this one boasted a sheer size that put every other Land Dragon Subaru had seen to shame.
He's so huge, and his scales are so hard, and his face is so scary.
Emilia's lips softened into a slightly exasperated exhale at Subaru's exhilaration.
He really is worked up like a little kid, isn't he?
She shifted her eyes to Rem, standing by her side, in search of agreement. But Rem gazed at the excited Subaru enthralled.
Subaru is cute when he gets like this. Do you not think so, Lady Emilia?
Well, I do think it's cute, but, Subaru's been a bad influence on you, hasn't he?
Emilia exhaled once again. Subaru, paying no heed to the girl's opinions, reached to touch the Land Dragon without a second thought and shouted in a strange voice.
Damn. I'm so excited. I'm living the uber fantasy dream right now, aren't I?
The Land Dragon's tolerance reached its limit around when Subaru lost himself in the moment and his touches turned into taps. A single sweep of its tail sent Subaru flying, spinning sideways. Several seconds later, Subaru emerged from the foliage, spitting leaves out of his mouth.
What happened there?
Subaru land dragons are highly intelligent creatures. Even if they cannot speak, they can express themselves very well. That is why one must treat them with the utmost respect.
Couldn't you have told me that a little sooner?
Brushing the leaves off his body, Subaru observed the shockingly huge Land Dragon. It narrowed its yellow eyes and let out a long breath, as if saying, "That's what you get for running your hands over me." During the exchange, he finally caught sight of the people he'd been waiting for. Rosewall and Ram were coming out of the mansion.
Hey there, what's up? You're late, aren't you? You're the one who set up the schedule, Rochi. The guy who sets the schedule ought to live by it, don't you think, Rem?
I agree. Although I'm the one who woke you up today when you didn't wake up on time. You may praise me for it if you like.
Okay, alright, okay, that's enough, Rem.
Subaru stroked Rem while urging her silence after her unnecessary addition. That earned him a sharp stare from Emilia, but he bore it as best he could and dragged the subject back to Rosewall.
So why were you late? Everything looked in order at breakfast time.
So Suri. You see, with Ram staying behind, I will not be seeing her for a little while. Yes, see? I simply wanted to have a somewhat thorough farewell before our departure.
Rosewall adjusted his collar, raising a finger as he excused himself. Beside him, Ram hastened to ensure her hair and clothing were also in order, plainly in high spirits.
Okay, let's pretend I didn't ask. She's really gonna stay behind, though.
It can't be helped. We can't leave the mansion unattended, and Miss Beatrice is here as well, so I must look after her. It's troublesome.
You put what you really think at the end, huh? Oh, well, Biko would have it rough if you weren't there to spoil her.
I might point out that if Miss Beatrice heard that, she might smash you into little pieces this time.
This trip to the royal capital was for Emilia, a candidate for the royal selection, and Rosewall, her sponsor. Subaru was going along for medical reasons, with Rem serving and guarding the other 3. The group totaled 4 people. That left Ram and Beatrice, who would presumably be holed up in the archive of forbidden books, remaining in the mansion.
You gonna be okay here by yourself, big sis? It's not easy keeping a mansion running all by your lonesome.
You do not understand, Baruso. People can survive 3 or 4 days without food after all.
No plans to eat your own food, huh?
After Ram's lively, defiant statement provoked Subaru, she abruptly grabbed his collar and pulled him aside. Subaru's breath caught as her immaculate face drew close.
Understand, Barusu. Keep a firm grip on the reins so that Ren does nothing rash.
You're the one who always goes to the royal capital, right? Why is Rem coming this tea?
It is infuriating you're forcing me to state the reason with my own lips.
Ram shoved him in the chest, letting out a humph as she walked off. By the time she was gone and Subaru looked back at the dragon carriage, Rem was just about finished loading the luggage. It seemed the time for friendly banter had passed. It was time to get the show on the road.
Biko didn't come to see us off, though. What a cold-hearted lolly.
Subaru glared at the distant entrance to the mansion, cursing the absent girl. Of course he had expected as much, leading him to mercilessly tease Beatrice the day before so he could leave without any regrets. Still, without her around to say goodbye, their departure was a bit lonely. But...
Oh.
His eyes met those of someone covertly watching them from the entrance to the foyer, open just a tiny crack. For a split second, the person in the dress recoiled at meeting Subaru's eyes, but she immediately reopened the door so he could see her more properly. It was as if she was trying to hide her sullen, forlorn expression. Subaru waved at her with little smile thanks to her typical behavior. In response, the pale-faced girl waved at him like she was shooing him away. She returned inside a moment later, having fulfilled her duty to see him off with minimal effort. When he turned back, Emilia was looking down at him as she leaned out of the dragon carriage's passenger cab.
Subaru, what is it?
The others had begun to get aboard without him realizing it. Subaru hurried over and reached for the doorframe, but white fingers reached out to him right before he could take hold of it.
Here.
Subaru hesitated for a moment before taking her hand. She pulled him up as he entered the cab. Now that Subaru was aboard, Rem nodded from her perch on the box seat toward Ram, standing alone on the ground. She took hold of the reins. The land dragon began to gently tread forward and pulled the carriage along. Subaru poked his head out of the window to give Ram one final wave.
Well, we're off. Let's both take care now.
At least try to evade the blows if something happens, Barusu. I do acknowledge your talent as a decoy.
I'm good for a little more than that, right?
Such was their clumsy early morning farewell. The land dragon accelerated, and their speed began to rise quite suddenly. The mansion grew distant in moments, and Ram's figure beside the front gate quickly shrank. A moment before Subaru lost sight of her, she held the edges of her skirt and slightly curtsied. It was an exceptionally maid-like way to see someone off.
I suppose that's picture perfect for how a cute maid should do her job, huh?
When they entered a dip in the road, Subaru was no longer able to see Ram at all, and he finally sat down on his seat in the carriage and exhaled. He finally felt at ease enough to begin enjoying the comfort of riding the dragon carriage. The seat had a high-class feel appropriate to the expensive design of the vehicle, making for a surprisingly enjoyable ride given that the road was not an especially well-maintained one. Judging from how fast the scenery was scrolling past the window and his experience with cars from his own world, he guessed he was traveling close to 60 miles per hour. And yet the vibrations felt far lighter than one would expect, on par with a typical sedan. Roswell laughed as Subaru turned this way and that, seat creaking under him.
My, dragon carriage is such a rarity.
Hey, is Rem fine all exposed on the box seat with us going this fast? It's not like I'm worried about her falling off. But won't her hair and clothes be a huge mess by the time we get to the royal capital?
Emilia cut in to reply.
There's no need to worry, since the dragon carriage is protected by a blessing.
Blessing?
Yes, blessing, gospel granted by the world itself when a life is born. There are numerous kinds, so there is no universal rule for them. But some species always receive one particular blessing. The wind repel blessing land dragons receive is one example.
Wind repel blessing, huh?
When a land dragon gallops, the wind doesn't affect it.
ReZero by Tabe Nagatsuki. Produced by Six-Tail Novel with Artale AI. If you are interested in creating your own audiobook like this, visit Artale AI and claim free premium with code ARTALE. Whatsoever. The blessing extends to the carriage connected to it so it isn't affected by the wind either.
That goes for Rem sitting outside too?
When Subaru indicated he understood, Emilia replied with a satisfied look.
Very good.
So, Emilia Tan, what about me? Do I have a blessing? Being summoned to another world was supposed to provide cheat abilities, certainly. Return by death was a special power without compare, but Subaru still hadn't lost his craving for something special that was a lot less painful.
I don't like to say this, but a majority of people are born without blessings. Also, everyone with a blessing is aware of it to my knowledge, so
Damn it, no good, huh? Nah, I get it. Meeting Emilia Tan was the miracle granted to me by the world, huh?
yes. It'll be 6 hours until we get to the royal capital, so be a good boy and behave.
Emilia Tan's so cooled.
Emilia and Roswell let Subaru sulk as they began to discuss what they would do upon arrival. It was serious business. Naturally, Subaru couldn't get a word in edgewise. Unable to get involved in the conversation, he soon began to get bored out of his skull.
Emilia Tan, let me sit by the window.
What's wrong? Motion sickness, huh? It happens a lot to people who aren't used to riding. I understand. I'll lend you Puck, so
I'm happy for the concern, but it's not that, and I'm not sure why you'd give me Puck for motion sickness. What, am I supposed to use him as my emergency barf bag?
if it goes that far, even Puck might get upset.
Emilia sank into thought, murmuring to herself, when Subaru shook his head.
No, I just meant Emilia Tan's too busy for me, so maybe seeing the scenery would take the edge off my solitude?
At that point, a new voice cut in. Rem peered in through the small front window to the box seat.
Well, if that's the case, you should come to the front here, Subaru. There's nothing to do inside the carriage if you're bored, right? Here you can see the sights, and I'll be glad to talk with you.
That is a very tempting suggestion. Emilia Tan, you won't be lonely with me over there.
To put it plainly, I'll be completely, absolutely all right.
Do you have to be that all right with it?
Though the lack of effort to stop him gnawed at Subaru, he did have Emilia's permission to go. Since Subaru didn't mind, Rem, holding the reins, checked with Rosewall to confirm.
May I stop temporarily then? The land dragon will not be able to run again for a short time, however.
Why is it gonna take time?
Because blessings are not omnipotent entirely. A land dragon's wind repel blessing, once suspended, cannot be reactivated for a brief period.
Well, I don't want to ask you to do that. If I open the door while we're moving, it won't slow down, right?
As Subaru rose and reached toward the door, Rosewall smiled as he inferred Subaru's intent.
If you have a certain degree of athletic ability, there is no problem, but if you fall, you will die.
Yeah, little detour's no big deal. Wait up, Rem, and don't make an acrobat out of me here.
I am concerned, but I understand. I shall wait. Come soon. Come soon.
At first, Rem looked worried at Subaru's suggestion, but very quickly sounded like she couldn't wait. Smiling thinly, Subaru rose to circle around the carriage to the box seat, but Emilia called out to stop him, handing over a belt attached to the wall of the carriage.
Wait a moment, Subaru. Here you go. It's not that dangerous, so I won't stop you, but keep a good hold on this.
If this is connected to the wall of the carriage, it's kind of like a seatbelt.
The belts are for when the dragon carriage tilts to the side. Use it as a lifeline. I'll take it back when you get to the box seat.
Subaru gracefully acknowledged Emilia's concern and wrapped the belt around his right wrist. As a worried-looking Emilia saw him off, Subaru opened the carriage door and embarked on his short outing.
It was strange how the scenery passed so quickly, yet he didn't feel any wind whatsoever, like he was traveling inside a glass bottle. Careful to not let the uncanny sensation get the best of him, Subaru gingerly grabbed hold of the carriage's rail and wound his way toward the box seat. If nothing else, he had good spatial awareness. The footing felt precarious, but his movements themselves were smooth. This is really something, so this is what having a blessing is like. Subaru took in the mysterious phenomenon of his current world as he suddenly regarded the whole situation objectively. The wind repel blessing affected the dragon carriage and everyone inside it. What would happen if something under the effect of the blessing touched something that wasn't? Feeling the desire to test his largely meaningless hypothesis, Subaru stretched his fingers up.
Then, Emilia remembered something.
Ah, that's right. Subaru, I forgot to mention, please don't put any part of your body too far from the dragon carriage. You'll end up outside of the blessing.
Stop? No way.
The moment after his fingers grazed the air, wind slammed into Subaru's entire body so hard he thought his hand would be ripped off at the wrist. The unexpected impact loosened his grip on the railing, thus his support, blowing him straight to the side. Off the dragon carriage, obviously.
This is bad, seriously bad. Oh man.
The wind buffeted him until he lost all sense of up and down. He would have smashed straight into the ground, but the belt around his right wrist snapped taut. Subaru's body floated parallel to the dragon carriage. Pain racked his wrist until it seemed like it would tear off. His life was literally linked to Emilia's lifeline. The fierce strain and the unlucky turn had already blanked out Subaru's mind, but head snapped up amid the ferocious wind when the high-pitched sound of a chain reached his ears. Right in front of him, he could see a silver-colored snake with large, round, spiked head.
I'm gonna have nightmares again.
A moment later, the snake wrapped around Subaru's body. He raised a pathetic cry at how much tighter it was than he expected. But his body was hoisted up just before he became roadkill. He floated up and over the dragon carriage with ease. At the apex of his arc, the chain released him and tossed him forward. Subaru saw Rem at the bottom of his revolving world. She held the reins and her morning star with one hand, extending the other to Subaru to guide him down.
As he realized that his life had somehow been spared, Subaru reflected, I'll live a slightly quieter life from now on.
Subaru, saved from a messy landing, promptly blacked out. Chapter 2, Blessings, Ruins, and Promises 1.
Subaru Natsuki's heart was beating at a fever pitch. I'm a little conflicted saying so, but shouldn't we cut this out?
Subaru wore an amicable smile, but cold sweat ran down his face as he made the suggestion. The point of concern was how they firmly held hands. They were in the royal capital, specifically Market Street, an exceptionally congested thoroughfare. No doubt, two people holding hands amid the constant bustle would look like an intimate couple, so long as no busybodies overheard scraps of their conversation anyway.
Absolutely not. This is you we're talking about, so you will do something strange as soon as you're out of my sight. I won't permit a single step unsupervised while we're in the royal capital. Understand?
I'm really sorry for my stupidity in the dragon carriage, but this is treating me too much like a little kid.
The gaze Emilia leveled at Subaru was sharp and cold. Her trust in him had plummeted to rock-bottom levels. Even if he was reaping what he had sowed, the treatment was extreme from Subaru's perspective. Following his close call with an unscheduled stop from the dragon carriage, and the tragedy of waking up to a Rosewall lap pillow, the subsequent conversation created a plan to limit his activities in the royal capital. This situation was the result.
I'm deeply aware that I was rash, but could we at least not do the holding hands thing?
So that's what you're complaining about. We did this plenty in the village when it was a date, didn't we?
Back then, I was fully prepared in mind and body, but I'm totally not right now. My hands are sweating.
Even though his hands were sweating from the exceptional tension, Emilia looked completely at ease, which only made him more nervous. And as for what the at-odds couple was actually doing in the royal capital, a coarse, manly voice interrupted their cute little argument.
Hey, can you stop flirting in front of a man's shop like this?
Emilia's face stiffened. Well, that's sensible, accepted Subaru. After all, the voice of the scar-faced man carried an irrefutable argument.
You're driving my customers away. Buy something or get moving already.
Well, that's rude and inconsiderate. Here I came all ready to keep my promise. The shock alone could have made me forget completely, you know? Makes me want to cry.
As Subaru slumped his shoulders, the man, resting his elbow on the counter, indelicately snorted back at him. Subaru thought the shopkeeper's foul demeanor toward his customers was a good indicator that he'd picked the wrong profession. The shop, with a sign reading Cadman in eye script with bright colors, was a fruit vendor with colorful produce on display. The shop had a deeper significance for Subaru.
Here I am, returning the favor to the first guy I met in a new world, and this is the thanks I get.
That's overstating it. It was almost a month ago, and we only spoke a few words, right? I vaguely recall it, but...
The owner of the store, actually a very kind man, was striving to remember when Emilia pulled on Subaru's ear and bowed her head.
Subaru, don't say crazy things. Sir, please don't force yourself on our account.
Subaru pleaded with her, yelping, "Oh, ow!" as she gave him a sharp glare and said,
I thought you said you wanted to say hello to someone who'd helped you, but I never expected this promise to be a one-sided deal. Unbelievable.
Hey, Emilia Tan, you can't just throw a promise between men into the garbage like that.
Don't exaggerate. How many people do you think a shopkeeper meets in the course of one day?
Emilia Tan, you can hurt people when you overestimate them. There's no way a shopkeeper with a scary face like that is doing that much bazin. Ow! 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 I'm sorry.
The shopkeeper, watching their back and forth, clapped his hands as he watched tears well in Subaru's eyes.
I remember that pathetic look now. You're the kid without a coin to his name. So the ingrate returns without buying a thing.
I'm gonna ignore how you remembered me, and I told you I'm back so I can repay you.
Ah, I see. Now that's a sense of responsibility. I like it.
Now that he recognized Subaru, the shopkeeper smiled generously, hauling a wooden box from inside his store and placing it on the counter with a heavy thud. The red, round, vibrant fruits inside glistened under the sun.
Here you go, apples like you promised you'd buy. How many? They're 2 copper coins each now.
I'll go big and get 10. That'll cover the promise, and then some. Then some.
The shopkeeper clapped his hands at Subaru's magnanimity. In high spirits, Subaru put his hand into his pocket to get his wallet out when he noticed that Emilia, standing beside him, was doing the same thing.
Emilia Tan, why are you getting out your purse?
What do you mean? Why? You can't pay for something without money, can you?
No, it's weird for you to pay instead of me, Emilia Ta. Old guy, what's with that look?
You said you'd buy them when you had the money, but I can't condone making a rich girl pay in your place.
Can't you see me arguing with my lovely lady here? I'm trying to pay.
The shopkeeper watched Subaru with suspicion as Subaru hastily thrust his wallet forward. The contents were his pay from his work at the mansion, and since Rose Wall was a generous employer, Subaru really did have money to spare.
Let me see. 2 coppers per abelie, so 2 silver coins should cover 10?
Hey, don't you know the current exchange rate? It's 9 coppers for a silver coin right now.
So 2 silvers and 2 coppers then? Here.
Subaru fished the appropriate coins out of his wallet and handed them to the shopkeeper. The man was stunned into silence, tilting his head as he sighed at length.
Took my word for it, huh? Kiddo, you really need to not be so trusting. The changes in the exchange rates are posted on the sign at the entrance to the market. If you wander in without giving that a good look, some crooked merchant will have you for lunch.
The shopkeeper seemed to be warning him because his honesty made him a sucker here. True, paying based on only what he was told might be overly trusting, even if it was common sense back home. Back at the village close to the mansion, everyone was so tightly related in an isolated community that deceit was inconceivable, but a huge city like the royal capital was fertile ground for mischief. In other words,
Soak, man, you really are a super good person, old guy.
Subaru smiled playfully in a show of goodwill to the scar-faced shopkeeper.
Only once in a while, I'd have nightmares if I swindled a customer who'd come back to fulfill a promise I'd nearly forgotten and who paid exactly what I asked for. That's it.
So you're mean-looking guy with a heart of gold. Got it.
Take it and go already. You've paid in full. Come again.
The first half was intimidatingly gruff. The second half, a paragon of customer relations. Subaru, having a good laugh at the two extremes, picked up his bag of apples with one hand while Emilia led him away from the shop by the other.
Thanks, old dude. Maybe I'll bump into you again someday.
You're quite welcome as long as you buy something. And miss, you really need better taste in men.
Now, that's none of your business.
As the shopkeeper watched them go, Subaru shot him the middle finger as he and Emilia entered the throng of people. As the distance between them widened, the human wave obstructed his vision, and the good-natured shopkeeper disappeared from view.
I'm glad he actually remembered you. I'm a little surprised, though.
Yeah, he definitely seems scary at first, but you get used to it pretty quick.
Not that. I mean, I'm flabbergasted you did the math that quickly.
No one says flabbergasted anymore.
Even as Subaru teased Emilia for using outdated words, he didn't mind praise. He didn't look it, but he was actually pretty good at arithmetic.
I've got a knack for basic math. So you go for the intellectual cerebral type, huh?
Cerebri? I'm not sure what you mean, but that's not the only reason I'm surprised. Just a little coincidence.
Ah, that's a cute face. What? Where's the coincidence?
That's a secret between me and the shopkeeper's daughter. So what's next?
Subaru had some idea what Emilia meant by a secret, but he didn't probe deeper, opting to readjust his grip on the bag of apples instead. The royal capital was far too big for casual strolling. His first objective of the day had been to visit the first person he'd met in this world. Now that he'd repaid his gratitude to the fruit merchant, his next objective was a no-brainer.
My next goal is to see Felt and Old Man Rom. Reinhard took care of them after I'd blacked out, right?
Yes. At first, I thought he'd let them go without any problems, but all of a sudden, Reinhard went pale and said he was taking the girl with him.
That sounds like a criminal kidnapping her, but that doesn't exactly fit him. Crap. The good-looking ones get all the breaks.
Subaru clicked his tongue as he sullenly recalled the handsome red-haired young man. Emilia watched from beside him, putting a finger to her lips as she pondered the issue.
If you want to get in touch with Reinhard, we should go to the garrison on this side of the nobles' district. There's a building there that's, well, it's nothing but a pile of rubble now.
Subaru agreed with Emilia's suggestion. After all, the fact Reinhard had been walking the streets of the capital off-duty made it clear he was a guard, most likely high-ranking, a knight.
I guess that settles it. Let's head to the station and get a hold of Reinhard from there. Well, let's get a movo. Oh!
What? Something wrong.
Nah, I was just counting the apples in the bag. There's 11 of them.
He had counted a total of 11 big, round, ripe, vibrant red fruit. It was highly unlikely the merchant proprietor of his own store had miscounted.
That old guy's too generous. As he recalled the prickly shopkeeper, he felt a warm, fuzzy feeling bubbling up inside and smiled to himself. Keeping his promise was the right choice.
2.
Come to think of it, what did you mean, get a hold of him from the garrison? There are no phones, right?
As they walked toward the garrison, Subaru voiced a sudden doubt.
Phones?
Emilia's mystified expression suggested she'd never heard the word in her life.
I mean, like, a device to talk directly to someone in a distant location. The distant location.
You mean Emilia? They should have magic mirrors.
Magic mirrors?
Mattia that display one person to the other and let you talk between them. They're fairly common as magical artifacts go, so they're apparently used in a number of different places.
Gotcha. So there is a way to do it. Mirrors! That's so magical!
When Subaru thought about it, he realized he'd never laid eyes on a real Micha. He'd heard the term Micha from Old Man Rom at the loot cellar and pretended his cell phone was one, but that was it.
Either way, it's a ray of hope. If we can get in touch with Reinhard, we can clear everything up.
I suppose so. Rem will be upset if we don't get back soon, so we'd better hurry.
Rem had wanted to go with Subaru on his tour of the royal capital, too. However, she had too much work to do as the entire group's caretaker, so, with great reluctance, she allowed Emilia to be his guide in the city. No doubt she was tearing through her work out of spite at that very moment.
Well, it's too bad for Rem, but for me, not having her here is a bit of a perk.
What did you say just now?
Nothing, Tinch. I'm just like, I don't have to be embarrassed if she sees us holding hands and stuff. Hey, Emilia Tan, about that royal selection thing tomorrow.
Seeing the tense, guarded look on Emilia's face, Subaru abandoned his carefree tone. But then Emilia's expression vanished entirely, and the gloom filling her violet eyes only accentuated her demeanor. The morning the envoy came, as well as during the time before their departure, Subaru had questioned Emilia several times, but she never lowered her guard. Their arrival at the royal capital had not changed that.
I have told you several times, haven't I? I brought you here so you can keep your promises and get healed. You don't need to concern yourself with me.
There's no way I can do that. I mean, here I am, holding your hand. How could I not concern myself like this?
At some point during his reply, Emilia had stopped walking, holding Subaru back. Under her hood, a single lock of silver hair spilled down Emilia's face. Subaru couldn't help but think about how it looked like a falling teardrop.
I want to help you. If you're having a hard time, I want to do something. That's how it's been, and that's how it's gonna be.
Subaru admitted his feelings honestly. He intended to exhaust every effort on Emilia's behalf. He knew exactly what motivated him, but
Why? Why do you go to such lengths for me, Subaru? I don't understand.
the incredulity in Emilia's eyes thoroughly bewildered Subaru. When her hand squeezed his in search of an answer, Subaru's throat caught as he struggled for words.
That's...
Even if he knew what he ought to say, he needed the resolve and courage to speak the words. And suddenly put to the test, Subaru lacked both. In the end, Subaru said nothing as Emilia waited. As the silence dragged on, he ran out of the time Emilia had given him.
Let's go. The sun will set if we don't do this soon.
Emilia started forward again, pulling him along by the hand. Subaru followed, clenching his teeth at his own lack of nerve. As he watched her small, slender back, he hated himself for losing sight of what he needed to say. He despised his weakness in the face of the girl who had saved his life and his spirit, the girl who lit the brightest fire in his chest. As Subaru sank into a vortex of negativity and self-hatred, he started as he suddenly heard a genderless voice, like someone whispering straight into his skull. "In NX coming to done thing it."
You'd best leave things at that, Subaru. It's me. I'm speaking directly into your mind, so Leah can't hear you.
The method of communication was odd, but the voice was certainly familiar. It was the spirit Emilia had formed a pact with, the supernatural cat always at her side. Puck. Subaru was taken aback at the sudden telepathic communication.
So you can hear me too, then!
You catch on fast. I wasn't sure at first, but it was easy to make a connection, so you might have a high compatibility with spirits. Maybe that's why Betty likes you.
Puck's one-sided knowledge of the situation added irritation to Subaru's gloom. He felt left out.
Don't lose hope from that conversation just now.
That's...
I just know. I know everything there is to know about Leah after all.
Even if he didn't put it into words, Puck's fatherly love for her was evident in his tone. The spirit's guarantee made Subaru feel worse about his own powerlessness. Puck had only reminded him that, when all was said and done, he didn't know a single thing about Emilia. The Emilia he knew was a stunningly beautiful half-elf girl. She was a candidate to become the next monarch of Lugunica, under the care of her sponsor, Rosewall. He knew she was honest, naive, willful, and soft-hearted. Her personality drove her to help others even at the cost of herself, making her like an older sister, but also an easy mark. But all these facts barely scratched the surface. He knew nothing of the girl inside, her emotions, or even how and why she came to pursue the monarchy.
Putting your heart and soul into everything is pretty rough on you, huh?
Even if closed lips could conceal his shallow thoughts, he could not silence his very mind. It was impossible to hide everything from Puck, who scooped up surface thoughts like so much soup broth.
Hey, Subaru.
He didn't want to face his own wretchedness any longer. He weakly denied Puck, but these words, whispered to the mind and not the eardrum, never arrived. With Subaru expressing his will through silence, Puck instead continued.
Don't get my hopes up too much, or Leah's... Hope is a gentle poison. Even if you know it will ruin you, you can't help but reach for the illusion that seems close enough to grasp. You are truly a poison.
To Subaru, who had viewed Puck as an unflappable, tranquil being. Those words contained enough force to change his impressions completely.
What do you mean by?
But before he could finish his perplexed reply, Emilia, guiding his hand, stopped walking and said,
We're here.
Subaru pitched forward, in danger of bumping into Emilia's back, but he somehow managed to right himself. When he raised his head, he belatedly understood why this was called the Nobles District. The scenery was more refined than that of the slums or Market Street, with much more money invested in it. This was true for not only the buildings, but also the streets, the walls, and the trees had aesthetic appeal. As the name suggested, this was the ward where the upper crust resided. Their destination was a building that served as the gateway, sealing off the single street connecting it to the outside world. The solid stonework structure was far plainer than anything in the Nobles District behind it. The back of the building contacted a section of the wall, allowing someone on the roof to survey the whole city in a single sweep. However, the purpose of this vantage point was obviously to keep watch over what was below, not to enjoy the sights.
This is the garrison for the Royal Capitol Guards. They also check the identity of people entering the nobles' district.
So it's like a customs checkpoint too. That's probably what they built it here for, huh?
He could appreciate it on logical and practical grounds, but his aversion to it was no doubt an instinctive reaction to something so emblematic of bureaucracy. Emilia said nothing to the reluctant Subaru as she headed for the garrison. Mindful of the time and place, she finally let go of his hand. He mourned the loss of her palm, and just as Emilia was about to knock on the garrison's door, it opened toward the outside as a young man poked his face out.
It is not often I meet an acquaintance in a place like this. It has been some time, Lady Emilia. You have not changed at all since then.
The young man bowed formally to Emilia, whom he had recognized even though she was wearing the hood. That alone put Subaru on guard, but Emilia's expression was serene as she nodded toward the youth.
Yes, thank you. No changes in particular, no. I see you are also in good health, Julius.
I am honored that you remember me. Your beauty has only increased, Lady Emilia.
The young man named Julius praised Emilia's good looks in a very polished manner. He had violet hair and an equal mix of snobbery and politeness. He was about half a foot taller than Subaru, putting him at around 5'9", give or take. His body was slender, but he did not seem frail. Rather, he had a handsome, supple frame. His amber eyes, no doubt bewitching to the opposite sex, suited him to a detestably fine degree.
Is it not a rarer sight for you, a royal guardsman, to be here at the garrison?
The man wore an extravagant uniform with a dragon emblem. A slender sword like a rapier hung from his hip. Julius's appearance and manner of speech suited such a title.
I've come to express appreciation to the soldiers for their services and take the opportunity to observe the city, or something like that. A friend asked me to pay a visit, and I suppose it is good to put friends first once in a while. After all, I was able to lay my eyes upon a beautiful flower along my path through these streets.
With well-practiced motion, Julius intimately grasped Emilia's hand as he spoke, bending down on one knee. Without a single pause for breath, he brought his lips to the back of her pale hand. Subaru watched this course of events in complete shock. After a few moments' delay, his emotions came to a boil as this man's conceited behavior rubbed him in every wrong way imaginable. His breath ragged, Subaru was about to rush over and give Julius a piece of his mind when Emilia held him in check with her other hand.
Thank you, Julius. I regret that this is very sudden, but I would like to get in touch with the castle about a certain matter.
As Julius listened to Emilia's request, his voice lowered as he looked at Subaru.
Ah, so that is why you came to the garrison. This matter? Does it concern him over there?
Not enjoying Julius's condescending gaze, Subaru locked eyes with him and glared back.
His character and demeanor form a poor match for those clothes. Such an appearance does not make a good first impression.
Thank you for the kind advice. I have some advice for you too. If you eat curry udon in an outfit like that, the broth stains will really stand out, so you definitely should pass.
Thank you for going out of your way to say so. I shall pay it heed if I should ever have such an opportunity.
The smiles they exchanged were most certainly not friendly. Subaru did not like him. Julius no doubt thought the same. In that spirit, he promptly ignored Subaru and turned his attention back to Emilia.
I shall guide you to the magic mirror then, though it pains my heart to bring you into a humble place such as this, Lady Emilia.
You needn't be concerned. You need not be concerned. I'm quite all right, so please.
Very well. Come in.
With that, Julius went back inside first. Subaru snorted a bit and stepped forward. But Emilia turned to him in front of the doorway, obstructing his path.
Subaru, you wait here.
Huh?
Subaru was taken aback. Emilia's long eyelashes trembled a bit as she lowered her eyes.
I'd like to have you come, but I don't think Julius will take it well, so wait here.
The heck? You care about that annoying jerk's feelings more than mine?
It's not that. It's not about upsetting him. It's that I don't want to put you through something you'll probably hate. So please, Subaru, wait here.
I hate it enough as it is already. The way that bastard licked Emilia Tan's hand all over like it was nothing.
Subaru had pegged that particular action as a sign of perversion, adding one more item to his list of negative impressions. It only compounded how he didn't want Emilia to have any contact with that man. Subaru's masculine instincts wanted desperately to warn her to watch out for Julius.
This won't take long, so please, be good and wait.
Her words were very gentle, yet heavily tinged with rejection. Emilia was fundamentally distancing Subaru from her own affairs, but afraid of incurring her displeasure for intruding, he was unable to speak a word in protest. She vanished behind the door as it closed, separating them physically and metaphorically with a dull thud.
I'm super uncool. Kicking around a rock some distance from the entrance as he waited for Emilia, Subaru distracted himself from his seething self-hatred as he recalled the annoying man. She said he was a royal guard, didn't she? If Subaru's hunch was correct, that meant he was a knight of the royal guard. If knightly orders existed in this world, surely knights of the royal guard served the royal family directly. But where did they stand in a country with no sitting monarch? The whole royal family died from plague, huh? They might make the elites and the Knights of the Royal Guard take responsibility for not seeing that coming and disband them, tossing them and their families out onto the street. Well, that sucks for the rest of them, but I wouldn't mind that annoying bastard going through a little hell. The somber thought gave him some small measure of satisfaction. He wondered who he picked up that pettiness from. In the past, Subaru would have never directed his ire about the inconveniences that befell him toward another person. He wouldn't have given a single thought to speaking ill of heaven or venting his frustrations. In a good sense, he was now concerned with appearances in a way he had not before arriving here. He wanted to live a life that he could show the honest and forthright girl close to him without shame. It was a vague thought, but he wondered if he had really changed a little. He couldn't tell. Men!
As Subaru ruminated, he felt a disturbance and frowned at a glimpse of something at the edge of his vision. For a brief moment, his gaze had wandered toward the city for no particular reason, and caught sight of a colorful dress disappearing into a back alley. The color was such a vivid red that it seemed to sear itself into his eyes, even with only a glance. And had the dress been merely traveling down the street, no doubt it would not have registered in Subaru's mind whatsoever. Even entering a back alley, the garment would not have caught his attention, save for the fact that the girl wearing it was being led there by seedy-looking men.
Just now, there's no way it could be a that, right? A major crime in broad daylight in front of the guards garrison, or so he thought, but perhaps this was a case of hiding in plain sight. Upon closer inspection, the location was in the garrison's blind spot. Subaru had seen them by dumb luck the instant he'd entered an alleyway while he moped. Setting aside that I just feel calmer in narrow spaces, I'd better go get the gua. Subaru hesitated. He hadn't witnessed an actual crime taking place. It was very possible he'd misinterpreted what he'd seen. At any rate, Subaru bore a powerful, arbitrary grudge against the garrison at that moment. Plus, if I'm wrong, it might make trouble for Emilia. It won't be too late to call for help after I confirm things first.
Voicing this excuse to himself, Subaru shot a glance at the garrison as he ran toward the alley. He felt guilty about going back on his promise to wait patiently for Emilia, but a higher duty called, plus Subaru's resentment toward Julius. And hearing an angry shout the instant he entered the alley, Subaru was firmly convinced he'd made the right decision and picked up his pace.
Why, you little bitch! I'm not messing around here.
3.
Don't mess with me, woman. You want a punch to that pretty little face?
Do not get ahead of yourself, peasant. Those of low character enjoy appropriately lowly fates.
Several voices argued, and 3 men surrounded a lone woman in the narrow alley, cutting off her avenues of escape. This was a stereotypical street punk encounter, but what left a burning impression on Subaru was the striking appearance of the girl who repulsed the atmosphere hanging over the cramped alley. Her hair was a radiant orange like the sun itself, flowing through a single barrette before spilling down her back. Her dress was blood crimson, and above all, the overwhelming beauty of the girl herself shone in her sordid surroundings. Even untrained eyes could tell at a glance that the jewelry on her neck, ears, and fingers were of the highest quality. Her full outfit, coordinated from top to bottom, had to be worth at least 100 times the money Subaru had on him. And yet all that extravagant jewelry was incomparable to her face. She had red, defiant eyes. Her faintly pink lips emphasized the hue of her skin, white as the purest snow. One might spend an entire lifetime and fortune in search of such beauty and never find it. Subaru realized all over again how often this world defied his idea of common sense. The girl crossed her arms in a calm posture that only accentuated her bountiful breasts. He couldn't just stand back and watch while her attitude raised the men's hackles ever higher.
Hey, sorry to keep you waiting, honey.
Subaru immediately raised a hand and wedged himself into the middle of the action. Laughing by himself as he interrupted the surprised trio, Subaru put his hands together in supplication.
It seems that she's caused you a little trouble, but could you do me a favor and let it slide? I'm sure you can tell just by looking at her, but the girl is a little, in the head. You get me? Her celebrity-like style practically screamed, "Rob me, please!" And she was hanging around the alleyways in a city with questionable levels of law enforcement. What sane person would be so reckless?
Subaru asserted to the stunned men. So that's how it is, and grasped the girl's hand.
Hey, let's move on before you cause the good boys hear any more trouble. Let's do like we promised today and feed each other sweets, just the two of.
Subaru quickly laid things out, casting her in the role he'd assigned Emilia in his fantasies, aiming to get her out of there as fast as possible. However,
Do not touch me so freely!
she put her other hand on top of Subaru's, twisting her body to yank the boy forward. A moment after he realized he'd lost his hold on her wrist, his face slammed right into the wall.
What dying?
Goodness, I take a step outside and this happens. Commoners drooling all over me.
As he stood back up, Subaru glowered at her, as if finding her words beyond comprehension.
Play along, damn it. That's the time-honored method of saving a girl from street punks. You're supposed to catch on to these things.
I do not know what you mean. I simply do as I please.
A woman who slams your face into the wall is the worst kind of first meeting, you know.
Not only had she not picked up on his attempt to extricate her, but she treated him as a pervert. The pain and humiliation made him regret exercising his limited courage. Thinking that the men must find it hilarious, Subaru turned toward their pitying gazes again.
Hey! Wait a minute, I remember you guys.
Subaru tilted his head with the bad feeling that he was reliving a prior crisis. Subaru compared the faces of the men before him against the ones in his memory, clapping his hands together when a light suddenly came on.
Dumber, and dumbest. Wait, no way. Does this city have any other punks besides the three of you?
Of course he remembered them. These were the three stooges he'd encountered on the first day of his summoning. Having experienced death at their hands once already, Subaru regarded them with caution. But
I'm more depressed than anything else. Don't you guys have any other way to make a living?
the three men looked at one another and began to talk, oddly relaxed about Subaru's presence.
First he sticks his nose in, gets his face smashed on a wall, and now he says he remembers. He bonkers? Hey, I don't want to mess with him. You deal with him. I don't want to either. Why don't we just shiv him somewhere?
With the supposed thieves having finally lost all vestiges of belligerence, the silent girl broke the atmosphere.
Oh my, so irresolute. Are you a bunch of little girls? If so, adorn yourselves in a manner suitable for my eyes. Yes, some fine jewelry on your burly, hairy bodies would make for quite a sight.
The girl put a hand over her mouth, ripping into them with a look of complete contempt. For an instant, the men did not understand what she had said to them. A moment later, they seethed as one.
Don't mess with me, bitch. Who do you think you are, girl? What's with the high and mighty talk, huh?
You're seriously off your rocker. We ought to spank into your girly butt the fact that we're guys. Wait, why am I jumping in with these idiots?
Subaru was surprised at himself for impulsively taking part in a four-man gang. He was acutely aware that blame for the incident lay on the girl's side too.
So I get where you guys are coming from, but I'm not turning back now. Besides, I'm carrying my own grudge from the first day we met.
I dunno what's with that little bitch, but what's the deal with you, shitface?
Apparently, they didn't remember Subaru at all. A pretty meager reaction considering Emilia had sent them packing with magic. They'd suffered a crushing 3-on-1 defeat at Subaru's hands, and they'd knifed Subaru to death sometime after that.
Well, none of those events happened in this world, so all they remember here is, oh yeah, the good-looking guy showing up?
Hey, I remember him from I remember him. Oh, that one. The brat with a screw loose. He hasn't changed one bit, huh? It's really him. The clothes are different, so why didn't recognize him?
When realization came over Dumb's face, Dumber and Dumbest followed in short order. Though Subaru was no fan of how they'd characterized him, he clapped to applaud their effort.
Good, good. I'm glad you remember me. So since you know me, how about you let this slide?
Are you nuts? We like you way less than someone we don't know. Just 'cause it's 3-on-2 instead of 3-on-1 doesn't change a thing.
Even though Subaru hoped to bluff his way through the scene, the willful girl paid no heed to his plans whatsoever.
Correction. It is not 3 versus 2. It is 3 versus 1 versus 1. Dia DF.
Can you shut up for a bit?
He wished he could have gone back in time 5 minutes and told himself not to bother, but the die had been cast. Besides, Dumb, Dumber, and Dumbest weren't patient types. Watching the temperature in their eyes dropping, Subaru knew it was only a matter of time before there'd be blood.
No choice, then. I really didn't want to resort to this, but...
Ah, would you stop messing around already? What the hell can you...
I'll have you know, I know Mr. Reinhardt, guys. Reinhardt and I are best buds. If I yell, he's gonna come running right over.
What?
This was his trump card, the fox invoking the lion, and it worked wonders. The mention of Reinhardt's name scared the trio witless. The effect was immediate, and Subaru forced himself to act like a big shot to cow them further.
So what'll it be, guys? One shout and he'll make mincemeat out of you with his bare hands.
It was a desperate bluff, but the men gritted their teeth resentfully.
We'll let you, this time. Remember this, it's not like you beat us or anything. And it's not like we're scared of Reinhardt's name or anything.
The men immediately fled the alley, their weak, stereotypical parting shots only enhancing their petty crook image. Only when they had completely gone did Subaru exhale deeply. Somehow he'd ridden the crisis out. Now if he could only get the girl to soften just a little.
What? Are those the eyes of a beggar? You shall receive nothing from me, commoner.
They are not. Well, would it kill you to thank me for saving you at least?
Save.
The girl inclined her head slightly with a mystified expression. She closed her eyes, sinking into thought, and let out a small sigh when she arrived at an answer.
So that prattling of yours earlier was meant to save me. I had not noticed.
You didn't notice? This sets new standards for dense, you know?
Do not misunderstand. No difficulty would have befallen me even without your help. I can only marvel at your taking...
I don't know what you mean. So what do you mean? I mean, what? Like, okay, you're super strong, so you'd have been fine even if I hadn't saved you.
Not at all. It is far simpler. This world is composed solely for my convenience. Nothing occurs that is not to my benefit. It is thanks to me that I was saved. Yet you attempt to claim this as your own exploit. Have you no shame at stealing credit from another?
With one blatant forward thrust of her bountiful breasts, the girl was asserting, as if it was natural, as if it was obvious, as if it was common sense, that she was absolute. The way her eyes radiated like an arrogant sun made Subaru keenly aware that this was someone he absolutely should not associate himself with whatsoever.
That's so. My bad for being too big for my britches. Sorry to interrupt. Bye now.
He determined it was best to agree with such a person as much as possible, not provoke her, just nod enthusiastically, avoid any defiance, and do a quick face away from her. But an unexpected call came from behind, and Subaru cursed his feet for stopping.
Wait.
What?
What is in that bag there? Show me.
The girl strolled around him, nodding to indicate that Subaru should put down the bag. He didn't want to oblige, but defying her would only prolong things, so Subaru reluctantly opened the bag and showed its contents, a mountain of ripe red fruit.
I do not recognize them. These fruits, what are they? What are?
They're, apples, the fruit of knowledge. Never seen one before?
Blinking at his reply, the girl snorted as she looked at Subaru like he was an imbecile.
You lie. Do not make me laugh. Apples are white, understand? I have absolutely never seen fruit such as these.
Well, they're white when you peel them.
It was the girl's turn to stare blankly, he remarked.
Wait, don't tell me you've never seen an apple that hasn't been peeled.
I have indeed never seen one that was not at the dinner table. Very well. Hand them over.
Nodding in satisfaction, the girl audaciously demanded he give up the apples. He'd saved the girl from a robbery only for the girl to attempt robbery on him. Subaru wanted to see Emilia again. He wished Rem were healing him that moment.
Hand them over. I shall split one open and see for myself. Or is it only lies that dribble from your lips?
Handle with care, okay?
Judging resistance to be the fool's choice, Subaru took an apple out of the bag and placed it in her hand. The girl took the apple, turning it around as if studying the sensation upon her palm. Then, her left hand flashed toward the apple, neatly severing it vertically and horizontally into 4 equal pieces. The girl licked the fruit juice off her fingers, satisfied at the cross-section.
Sweet and sour, certainly. This is the taste of an apple. I will spare your life.
Spare my no. Never mind. Anyway, you're satisfied now. I take it.
Absolutely not.
Her statement, crossing the line from arrogant behavior to tyrannical, made even Subaru erupt in indignation.
You don't even care that you sliced one up out of the blue. Why do I have to give you all of them? These apples aren't just apples, they're the bonds between two men.
Enough prattle. How about this?
The girl pointed at the bag, her lips cracking into a wry smile.
We shall wager for them.
Wager?
Yes, a simple wager, something easy, flipping a coin and guessing whether it is heads or tails. A single apple shall rest upon each attempt. How about it?
She was proposing a contest, but all Subaru could do was laugh at her suggestion.
Just say the darndest things. Why would I agree to that in the first place? There's nothing in that gamble for me. I can just run like heck out of here.
Of course. I shall have something worth winning at the ready. Let's see. This Suresima.
The girl touched her tongue to her lips as she sank into thought. She shifted her bewitching eyes towards Subaru, lifting up her ample bosom with her crossed arms.
Should you win the wager, you may touch my breasts. How about it?
Subaru sighed at length and shook his head at her offering up her own body as a gambling chip. The way she offered herself in a wager without a single reflection on the consequences of losing indicated the kind of personality that ruined gamblers' lives. No doubt she thought that her beauty allowed her to seduce any man setting eyes on her. He thought her worldview was regrettable and rather sad. The girl gave Subaru a slightly suspicious glance, perhaps wondering what was taking him so long.
You need to take better care of yourself. That's crazy talk, and you can't seduce me with that look.
And so, Subaru found himself still in the alley, having lost 7 straight bets.
That makes 7 wins for me. There are only 3 apples left, you know.
No way! You're robbing me blind.
4!
Now then.
The girl picked up one of the apples lying before her and deposited it into the bag at her side. Subaru was down to his last 2 chips, so to speak. When their game had begun, he had 10. He never imagined he'd go on an 8 in a row losing the shirt on his back.
Now you know what happens to those who challenge me. I am the pinnacle, and you are suited only to wriggling around at the bottom.
Hey, isn't it a little extreme to treat me as the bottom of the pyramid just because I'm a losing? Pride comes before the fall, you know a fall to rock bottom.
You may rest easy. All is rock bottom except for me. The world has me and all else is beneath.
Subaru wanted to refute her irrational logic, but that would only make him sound like a sore loser.
Now then, what shall we do next? If you do not trust your luck at coin flips, a different wager is fine.
Oh, now you've done it. I'm down in the bottom of the 9th, but I propose we do rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors.
When the girl raised an eyebrow at the unfamiliar term, it gave Subaru a tiny ray of hope.
Rock, paper, scissors is a way to settle things. At the signal, you make a shape with your hand, and a stronger shape wins. They're three shapes: rock, paper, and scissors. Paper beats rock, scissors beats paper, rock beats scissors. Understand?
Oh, yes, I understand. A rather amusing game, it would seem. What is this signal?
Well, when you finish saying rock, paper, scissors, you show your hand when you get to the scissors part. Oh, and if you both show the same hand, you say rock, paper, scissors again as the signal and do it over on the spot.
That is all there is to it? Very well. I shall go with paper.
You're already showing your hand?
Subaru shuddered at the breathtaking speed with which she strategized. He just finished explaining the rules, and here she was, picking it all up like a pro, poised greedily with victory in her grasp. He supposed he should praise her.
Let us begin then. Rock, paper.
Subaru felt nervous about falling behind.
Wait, time out. I haven't decided what I'm gonna go with, Yi.
With his thoughts still in a jumble, the girl reached the signal and raised her hand high.
Scissors.
The girl's hand indicated paper, just as she had proclaimed. Subaru's hand was rock.
It would seem that you owe me another able complaints about the method. Notwithstanding, still I...
It's not that! Statistically, people subconsciously keep their hand closed when they're tossed into rock, paper, scissors without warning. I'm such an idiot.
The strategist had been defeated by his own scheme. Subaru certainly looked defeated as he handed the girl her apple. With this, Subaru was down to his very last apple.
Now, let us gamble for the last apple and bring this to a conclusion, shall we?
You wouldn't show mercy on me and let me keep the last one, would you?
All the apples you carried belong to me. Leaving one in your hands is the same as leaving you all. It is all or nothing. That being the case, we may as well gamble for all the apples on the final round. That goes for both of us.
The girl added, meaning it would be her 10 apples against Subaru's 1. It was truly emblematic of the girl's ruinous high-stakes way of thinking.
How about rock, paper, scissors for the last one, too?
I have already made my decision. All that remains is for you to choose the method and present me with my apple.
The girl showed no doubt about her victory, nor any intention of letting Subaru go. In other words, he had no choice but to harden his resolve, to trap a Rakshasa by the vilest of means.
Rock, paper, scissors!
Rock, paper, scissors!
When both showed their hands, sound vanished from the world. With her fist clenched in a rock, the trembling in the girl's red eyes only grew.
This is...
Listen and be amazed, look and be astounded. Behold the ultimate combat technique, Rusaiper.
What is that thing? You did not inform me such a hand was possible.
Shut up! I didn't mention it, but it's your fault you didn't ask. That part is rock, this here's scissors, and over there is paper. In other words, my hand's beating your rock.
If such logic holds, a different part loses to my rock.
I can't hear you. My rock is borrowing power from the scissors and paper, forming the holy trinity of friendship, effort, and victory. It's all here, baby.
Raising the hand of Rusaiper to the heavens, Subaru boldly proclaimed victory with his flagrant cheating. He was well aware his logic was absurd, a desperately underhanded attempt to throw the wager itself into doubt. But the girl defied Subaru's expectations, sighing deeply as she said,
I see. Certainly, it is I who was in error. At the same time, I am amused at how my expectations have been surpassed. Very well, you have won. You may do as you please. Here you go.
After her minimal warning, she abruptly stepped forward. Without thinking, Subaru, floored at how quickly she jumped to the next step, stepped back a distance equal to the one she had advanced.
Do not tell me that now it is time to feel my breasts. You have lost your nerve.
Huh? I seriously don't know what you're talking about. Who sets S scared? Here.
Truly you are a vexing man. I suppose such bashfulness is adorable in its own way, but Thais?
And there they stood, Subaru getting cold feet at the last moment versus the girl whose pride did not permit her to take back what she had offered. One advanced, and the other retreated. A standoff that continued until outside forces intervened. Abruptly, the girl's gaze left Subaru and focused on the entrance to the alley.
Emmett, seems this will become troublesome.
It looks like some pretty rough-looking dudes are coming this way.
And the one at the vanguard is a commoner, I recall. Goodness, these fools do not interest me even slightly.
What are they thinking? Coming back after hearing Reinhard's name like that?
It would seem they have called your bluff about being acquainted with the knight among knights. It is rather easy to understand. Even they have reputations to protect, so they have returned in greater numbers for retribution.
Damn it! This day is just nothing but trouble. First, he had a close call back on the dragon carriage, then he had gotten on Emilia's bad side, and now this. Today's really not my day.
Since the girl was just standing there, Subaru grabbed her hand and dragged her along, carrying the bag of apples as he rushed deeper down the alley.
Hey, what are you doing? Do not touch me so carelessly.
Now is really not the time. If you don't want to get all beat up before marriage, run!
The girl wasn't very motivated to run as Subaru pulled her down the beat-up alley and plunged into the darkness. The men behind them pursued with a great shout and a flurry of footsteps. Subaru, cursing the heavens for his truly unlucky day, kept running with a desperate expression on his face.
5.
If we do not hurry, they will gain on us. Is this time to play around?
I don't want to hear that from Yuri. Time out, seriously. Waita!
They'd been racing through rundown streets for the last 5 minutes, but the girl was running well ahead of him, showing no sign of losing her breath. On the other hand, Subaru, never one to hold up for long sprints, was about to collapse from exhaustion. At first, he had been in front, but his endurance issues soon switched their positions.
I'm convalescing, so this is really pushing it. But we're in a pretty bad spot. Doesn't look like many people live here. You have any ideas?
The other group was a fair distance behind them. However, they were in one long alley, so slowing down meant it was only a matter of time until they were caught. He'd have liked to get on a thoroughfare, but all he could see was a maze of other back streets.
It is not my problem. Everything I set out to do turns out well for me. I do not think deeply about things, for I do not need to. I need only trust in this fact.
Yeah, well, you lost at rock, paper, scissors to me earlier.
At least they hadn't bumped into a dead end, but that didn't improve their predicament. Right in front of the winded Subaru, the girl suddenly came to a halt.
Ah! This is indeed rather vexing.
Subaru, still holding her hand, also stopped. He looked at her, wondering what the deal was.
Hey, we don't have time to stop here. If we don't put in as much distance as we can, they'll catch up with...
I have lost interest.
I see. You've lost interest. What?
Subaru was in utter shock at the girl's unbelievable statement. She returned his gaze, apparently bored.
I said, I have lost interest. In the first place, why must I run? I shall decide what I do myself. I absolutely shall not be forced to do anything because of what lowlifes say or do.
That's easier said than done. You know, that ain't gonna fly in a situation like the stun...
I have decided. You shall have the honor of carrying me.
No thanks.
As Subaru crossed his arms in a clear sign of refusal, the girl scowled as if he was putting a damper on her mood.
The honor of carrying me is not for just anyone to receive. Only a man who does not know fear would reject such a thing.
Do I look like a macho man that can carry someone and run? Even when I was at full strength, it took everything I had to carry a girl with way fewer style points than you. And I'm about worn out now.
As Subaru used the remains of his energy in protest, the girl shot him a look of scorn, but he couldn't use what he didn't have. Her games led them to a stalemate, costing them precious time. That was the thought in his head when, out of the blue, he heard an aged voice.
It's been some time since I've seen you. What are you doing here?
The speaker's large frame emerged from the darkness. Subaru lifted his gaze to a typical height for making eye contact, but found himself staring at this man's chest. He raised his gaze even farther to his ugly, balding head. A familiar and very muscular old man gazed down at Subaru and the girl.
Gramps is here to save the day. We can win this.
You're quick to annoy someone who hasn't seen you in a while. I'm leaving you here.
Wait, I really need your help. It's like the 10th crisis I've had in the last month.
That's too many.
As they exchanged banner in lieu of greetings, the giant, Old Man Rom,
peered at Subaru and the girl.
What in more trouble are you? Causing a ruckus with a woman? Quite the adventurer you are.
Do not look at me so rudely, you filthy gnarled tree.
Hey, I'm ribbing him too, but that's really harsh. Don't say that to the old man giving us a get-out-of-hell-free card. Don't take it personally, old man Rom. We've just got a little case of excessive honesty here.
You certainly are good at wearing a man down. Hurry and hide.
Subaru covered the girl's mouth before she could spew insults again and rushed toward the place Rom had silently indicated. There was a pile of scrap wood there that seemed able to comfortably conceal 2 people. Subaru pushed the girl down first before squatting himself. She looked like she wanted to complain about the dust, but his hand over her mouth managed to keep her silent.
We're okay on this end, Gramps.
No, you're not. I'll hide you with my body. If they see you, it'll be trouble for me too, so don't move.
Grumbling all the way, Old Man Rom hid them completely behind his huge body. A mere 10 seconds or so later, a commotion of footsteps came from a nearby alley.
The hell? I thought it was the brats, but it's the old man. Shit!
Old Man Rom fielded the foul language with a serene expression.
What? You shouldn't surprise your elders like this.
Old Man Rom hadn't put any special invective into his sentence, but the displeasure of a giant like him carried a force all its own. The entire group shuddered, the leader included. But one of the members of the group pointed at Old Man Rom and mocked.
Hey! Wait, it's Grandpa Cromwell. Hey, should you really be talking smack to us here?
The furrows of Old Man Rom's wrinkled face deepened further in a bitter response.
I do not like being called that name.
Get out of here, old man, or we'll bust up your loot cellar and make you the laughingstock of the slums.
That place has gotten incredibly dirty over the years. If you destroyed it entirely, you'd be doing me a favor. So how about I do as I please?
Yeah, fine. Now, Cromwell, did you see 2 brats running this way?
I didn't see them. Do you know where my blonde daughter is?
Beats me. You picked her up off the street, so what's the big deal? Man, going senile must suck.
The men waved farewell, laughing derisively as they noisily left the area. Old Man Rom watched their retreating backs, biting his lip as he held back his anger. As Subaru watched his face through a small gap, he couldn't help but feel bad for him. He was glad that Old Man Rom was friendly for their belated reunion, but he seemed a little different from the Rom Subaru knew.
Wong, Ri.
A whisper-like voice interrupted Subaru's thoughts, prompting him to look to the side. Right beside him was the beautiful girl. So close they were practically breathing the same air, her mouth still covered by Subaru's palm.
You gone to CVV my mouth?
At the merciless bite, Subaru let out a high-pitched puppy-like yelp that quietly echoed through the nook in the back of the alley. 6!
Thanks for hiding us, Old Man Rom. The last time I saw you, I thought you'd had the sense knocked right out of you, but I guess you made it through fine.
Do you want me to change my mind and call those young'uns back?
You sure are petty for a big guy. With me here, there's more than enough petty for everyone.
Subaru grinned and shot him a thumbs up. Old Man Rom sighed with a worn-out look. They'd moved from the previous narrow alley to a more open city street. Old Man Rom conversed with Subaru while guiding the pair to a place where they could blend in. The girl, having kept her silence until that moment, finally tugged Subaru's sleeve in irritation.
Hey, you! I see you having an intimate conversation. Who is this old man? Explain it to me.
This old man is the face of the royal capital's slums. The giant's Old Man Rom, traitor for the bosses of the sticky-fingered types and all-around stingy bastard. He's got bad eyes, loves his cute granddaughter, and he's not nearly as tough as he looks.
That is his worth after having lived a long life. I see. I pity your pathetic existence, gnarled tree.
Your lady friend is an annoying little girl, isn't she?
Old Man Rom was indignant at the harsh appraisal. Though Subaru's explanation was the truth, he set that aside and gave Old Man Rom a warm smile.
I'm so glad I ran into you, really.
Even I was getting desperate back there. I didn't have a clue what I was gonna do.
Old Man Ram made a strained laugh and casually looked Subaru over.
The way you switch gears so quickly really throws an old man off. Seems you managed to escape with your life back then, too.
His face twisted painfully as he saw the scars on Subaru's body.
I may not be one to talk, but it seems that knife wielder got you pretty badly.
Nah, that babe only got me in the stomach. All the other wounds are from a thing that happened after.
Goodness, something else happened to you, not even a month later.
Subaru thought Old Man Ram's loud reaction was quite sensible as he reviewed the last month, though in truth, the boy had experienced nearly twice that time. Those turbulent weeks had included the Maid Sisters, the Demon Beast incident, and the Liliana issue. With Subaru keeping his mouth shut, Old Man Ram seemed to accept things all on his own, shaking his head as he brought up a separate issue.
Hey, brat, do you know where Felt went off to?
Haven't you heard? Reinhard took her with him, or so I'm told.
Reinhard, the Sword Saint? Why would the Knight among Knights take her with him?
Apparently, this news was a bolt from out of the blue. Subaru thought back to how things had gone down at the loot cellar, finally noticing the inconsistency. Old Man Ram was out cold before Reinhard had entered the fray. Ram and Reinhard hadn't interacted while Subaru was conscious.
So, what? You just woke up in a wreck shop without any explanation, and all you could do was wonder?
It wasn't nearly that bleak. I woke up in the guards' garrison. I appreciated their healing me, but I let myself out right after.
Not exactly a comfortable place for you, huh?
A criminal wouldn't feel at ease waking up in a police hospital. Subaru couldn't blame him for getting out of there ASAP without hearing all the fine details.
So that's why you didn't hear, huh? Okay, anyway, let me fill you in on what happened before I blacked out, plus the little bit that apparently happened after.
After that preamble, Subaru acted out a dramatic retelling of the events at the loot cellar. Old Man Ram watched Subaru's meaningless theatrics with admiration, and even the bored-looking girl leaned forward, gripped by the performance from start to finish.
She was so surprised, and then I said, I want you to tell me your name.
Ho ho, a rather fine choice of words, if I do say so myself. I must grudgingly approve.
Kah! You really told her. Bah, this is no time to admire. The bottom line is that you don't know any more about Felt other than the fact the Sword Saint took her with him, do you, brat?
Part of why I came here today was to do some footwork to find out exactly what happened.
But he'd hit a roadblock right at the heart of it, the attempt to make contact with Reinhard.
But the House of Astria, of all things.
Old Man Ram had a serious expression as he lifted his face. Subaru helplessly shrugged.
Well, I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of Reinhard, so I'll let you know if I hear anything. I mean, I wanted to find out if Felt was safe and sound to begin with.
That'll be a big help. You seem oddly trustworthy. Is this girl involved with this somehow?
No, not a bit. I don't even know her name.
Just how many scrapes do you get into for girls whose names you don't know?
Hey, back when I didn't know Emilia Tan's name, I was pretty desperate, so I don't think anything I did was that weird.
Subaru's indifferent reply made Old Man Ram rub his eyebrows in exhaustion.
No point thinking about it. All right, fine, I'll rely on you. So let me know if you find out anything about Felt. If I can repay you, I will.
You're really gushing. It's because it's your adorable granddaughter, huh?
That's right. She's like a granddaughter to me, so please.
Subaru's jaw dropped at Ram's straight-up, unashamed agreement with him. He wondered if the blonde thief girl really knew how deeply he felt for her. Knowing her, he figured she'd go red in the face and try to blow it all off. As Subaru's discussion with Old Man Ram wrapped up, the girl haltingly murmured,
Reinhard, to hear the name of Reinhard here, of all places a cad.
She suppressed a laugh. Subaru's relaxed expression tightened again as he turned toward her.
Hey, it's not polite to eavesdrop. Don't go listening in on other people's business like that.
I did not listen in. You two oafs simply began speaking right in front of me. From the way you speak of him, it seems your claim to know the Sword Saint was not a bluff. Are you close?
It'd be a bit much to say we met once and became best friends forever, but we're on good terms, yeah.
Subaru owed a debt to Reinhard.
he had enough of a sense of reciprocity to pay it back, even if he couldn't exactly imagine Reinhard in a crisis that Subaru could bail him out of.
Well, what do you know about Reinhard? You don't seem like a fan of his.
From what I have heard, he is a rather twisted person. Beyond that, I have only seen him slightly from afar.
The way she declared someone to be twisted without having even spoken to him suggested it was her own thinking that was twisted. But with the girl's silence indicating she had no intention to elaborate, Subaru turned his attention back to Old Man Ram.
Leaving her aside, how should I get in touch with you?
There's a store called Cadmon on Market Street. Give my name to the grumpy-looking man there and he'll get in touch with me.
All right. Cadmon.
As Ram explained how to get in touch, Subaru tilted his head at the familiar-sounding word. Either way, he fulfilled his promise to pay Old Man Ram a visit. That was one thing off his to-do list. To take care of the rest, first, he needed something else.
Well, incidentally, the girl and I are actually completely lost. I don't want my adventure to end here before I can fulfill my promise. So, could you lead us back to the main street?
All right. Leave it to me. Which street is it?
Back to the garrison, please, and thank you.
Didn't you hear me tell you I escaped from that garrison?
Old Man Ram's exasperated shout filled the sky above the alleyway. According to that sky, he'd been separated from Emilia for nearly an hour. 7. The orange-haired girl gazed at the back alley indifferently and muttered,
At first, I thought the disorder of such a grimy place held promise, but now that I am accustomed to it, it has nothing to draw my eye. It is quite useless for assuaging my boredom.
She raised the hem of her dress and shook it, a blunt expression of her insufferable displeasure.
I don't think the royal capital's designer drew up these streets to be exciting.
The world exists for my sake, so should not everything in it serve to amuse me. I have no idea what the man who approved such boring streets was thinking. Royalty should have a keenly discerning eye. Lack thereof seems to have been decidedly fatal of late.
Just hearing her statement set Subaru's heart racing. His head whipped back and forth to see if anyone had overheard.
That's a pretty arrogant thing to say right at the king's door, you know?
The girl snorted at Subaru's caution, or rather, cowardice.
A dull reaction and a futile concern. It would seem that you, too, are part of the common rabble.
I'm well aware I'm a 100% common, ordinary, straight-down-the-middle guy, and I'm fine with it. I don't want to waste any more time hanging around you anyway. The girl who's waiting for me will hate me.
What absurdity! It is an insult for you to think about anyone besides me during the time we are together. I may be accompanied now, but I think nothing at all of walking alone.
Well, you should think about it. Being with you is miserable.
He was the chaperone for a girl who seemed to be arrogance incarnate. Subaru's self-pity flared up again at how he'd once again thrown himself under a bus in no time flat for the sake of someone he'd never even seen before. But he remarked to himself, whatever. They were strangers to begin with. Neither knew the other's name. Once they reached the main street, they'd never see each other again. He wasn't magnanimous enough to shut off his own feelings of discomfort to try to make friends with just anyone. In Subaru's book, forcing yourself to like something you hate was among the most distasteful things around. That Subaru had decided this, yet had no intention of leaving the girl on her own until they'd exited to the main street, was evidence as to what kind of person he was. Evidence as to what kind of mean stam of leaving the girl on her own until they'd date was. Evidence as to what, coincidentally, Old Man Ram was not accompanying them. He abhorred going out onto the main street, so he led them to an adjacent alley before heading off. Subaru somewhat regretted the loss of his company. But
while I was thinking about all that, here we are.
Just ahead of a bend, he could finally see the bright western sun over the road. Subaru beheld the uninterrupted flow of people passing to and fro, relieved that his suffering was finally at an end.
Now that we're out of there, we're total strangers again. I have to look for my cutie pie companion, so I don't want to get into any more trouble like hanging around you. I'm sure your escort has been desperate to find you, so if you stay put, I'm sure you'll meet up with him soon.
But the moment of their parting so close, Subaru vented out all the resentment that had built up during that time. Naturally, the girl was poised to respond, but instead, she halted and crossed her arms in silence.
What, nothing to say? Okay, maybe I went a little too far, but I can't change how I feel. Things haven't exactly gone smoothly. But if you try a little prudence now and again, I'm sure.
Subaru was simultaneously excusing his resentful words and lecturing her when she sneered back.
I think I pity you just a little. Whether you are aware of it or not, you so thoroughly play the fool. It is no virtue. It is merely a thin shell within which you conceal your weakness. It is as repellent to the eye as your face.
First part sounded serious, but that last part was definitely making fun of my looks, wasn't it?
If you intend to maintain the game to the very end, it is no concern of mine.
Whatever the girl wanted to say wasn't registering with Subaru. Consistent with her bearing and actions, she made statements without any consideration for the comprehension of others. No doubt he wouldn't get a straight answer even if he pursued the matter further. With that in mind, Subaru gave up on speaking to the girl further. Or perhaps telling himself the girl was incomprehensible was his way of avoiding the truth. But he wouldn't receive any more answers here to begin with. After all, the instant the two exited the alley, they were greeted by a voice, Emilia's voice.
I finally found you.
Unlike the back alley, the bright rays of the sun. ReZero Bike Tapai Migatsuki, produced by Sixtail Novel with Artail AI. If you are interested in creating your own audiobook like this, visit Artail AI and claim free premium with code Artail. Illuminated everything on the main street. The sunshine dazzled and burned his eyes. That radiance haloed her white robe as she looked at Subaru. Her elegant brows were furrowed. Her fingertips restlessly toyed with her sparkling hair. Her gloomy violet eyes quivered as her lips loosened in slight relief. It was plain as day how much she'd worried about Subaru. Subaru both deeply regretted making her worry and was happy she had worried. His expression brightened at their reunion, unexpected but eagerly awaited.
Emilia.
But as Emilia let out a soft sigh, he felt that something was wrong. He began to call her name but stopped when he saw someone beside her. A male someone with a burly chest,